And welcome back to the studio. Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife in Heels.
Good morning.
Oh, it's Monday. Okay, let's jump into this. Social media, airing your dirty laundry on social media. So, first, for those who might not know, I'm not sure who that is, but what are we talking about when we're talking about dirty laundry?
So, for the purposes of this conversation, and I think this is generally understood culturally as well, but for the purpose of this conversation, to air your dirty laundry means to talk about things, usually a problem or dispute, that should be kept private. To talk about private issues among others that are not involved.
Okay, so there's your definition. Do you want to tell us any stories?
You've been guilty?
No, I do
not.
No.
We watch things from afar.
So usually we do have our topics planned ahead of time, out a couple weeks, but sometimes things come up in our personal life that prompt a discussion. For example, the free range parenting and things like that. So I have recently had where someone aired their dirty laundry about a family member of mine on Facebook. And it really made me mad because, as always, it was just one side of the story. It was completely inappropriate. It's something that, most of the people wanted to keep private, and this person decided to just air it. And the response was so negative towards that person that I think it backfired.
Well, and hopefully it would. And so that's what prompted that, because I was saying, who does this? Who does this? And apparently there are some people that think it's okay. I thought this was a funny comment on the K2 Radio website where we always pose our questions. Justin said, I like going overboard. It keeps my friends list short. Yeah, well, I think he was being a little tongue-in-cheek.
I think so,
there,
but some people don't have a problem with it. And one of the things I appreciate about these conversations and the posting of questions ahead of time is it always ends up giving me a new perspective. So my answer was a cold, hard, fast no. Absolutely not. You do not talk about having a fight with your husband or a friend. You don't talk about things that are obviously private on Facebook. But then one of my friends, Devaney, she said, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Unfortunately, in the world we live in now, some people only know how to seek help or communicate through social media. So the airing their dirty laundry allows others to help them and allows prayer warriors to pray for them. And that's true. Some people...
That is, I hadn't thought of that.
Right? And that made me feel a little bit bad for my hard and fast no, because that is true. Sometimes people, that's the only way they do feel comfortable reaching out and discussing. And that's the only way they have access to people that can be helpful. But that was a valid point.
Yeah, but that's a little different than bashing. I mean, we're talking about a number of different things here. When one of them is just too much information. And some of your friends are like, I love you, but that's
I
too
don't
much
need to
information.
know about what you and your husband did last night.
No.
Thank you.
And how it was and all that kind of stuff. I just don't need to know that. Thank you very much. There's you and I were talking about vague booking, which drives me nuts.
Oh my gosh. I'm at the hospital, but absolutely no details, nothing. For me, that is just pure attention-seeking behavior, and that's an eye roll for me.
Right, exactly.
And I refuse to respond to it and feed into it.
And you actually had a definition from Forbes. Intentionally vague posts meant to generate concern and attention, a.k.a. vague booking.
Yeah.
So
word of the day, Roger, vague booking.
Vague booking?
Vague booking.
Okay.
Instead of Facebooking, it's vague booking.
What are your thoughts about this, Roger? We've just been...
Don't do it. Don't do it. The internet is forever. Whatever your personal issue may be, the odds are I say the odds are. It likely is temporary. Some solution will be found, but you're stuck with the fact that you blabbed it to everybody.
Right, exactly.
And it's not going to go away.
If you're having a fight with someone and you blast it all over Facebook and you say rotten things about them and whatever, and then you work through it and you make up, and even if you delete the post, it's there forever.
Or the thing that drives me nuts is there's certain people where their feed is, my husband is such a da-da-da-da-da-da, and then 3 days later, date night, and they're all lovey. And then, if you look at their timeline, it's up and down and up and down and up and down, and it's just... I guess it comes down to what you feel the purpose of Facebook is.
Or sometimes, do you want to look pathetic? Why can't I find a girl? Why are you telling me that?
Because they want attention.
Well, I
right.
get it.
Yeah, right? Attention seeking.
Are they hoping they'll get a girl out of that? I mean, really?
I feel like it maybe they're looking to get a debt-free virgin with no tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and I really like this comment from our friend Zach, who said, "I generally go with the saying, only the weak-willed turn to public opinion for a solution to an internal conflict." Ooh, who knew he was
Good
that
job,
pithy?
Zach.
I like
Yes.
that.
So,
See, well, that feeds into my thing. It just sounds pathetic. You know, it just sounds you sound lame.
But here's the deal. I learned as a teacher developmentally, negative attention is just as good as positive attention. Attention is attention is attention. You know, one of my friends, Christine, said, if someone has a problem with another individual, they need to go to that person and work it out, not put it on the web so everyone can read it. There is value in acting mature and facing your problems.
Yeah.
right. And going along with that, you know, Catherine, what I think it's a sign of the times that we've lost a part of our interpersonal communication skills and have become disconnected. It cannot be mentally healthy for either party. It shows a level of disrespect for privacy and immaturity to find validation rather than working through a problem. So, and the other thing that, you know, we've said this about emails as well, is that you cannot express tone through written comments, whether it's email or text or a Facebook post. You know, that's why we joke about the sarcasm font. You know, it's because you can't express tone.
Emojis do help.
Yes.
but it's not the same. So Andrea said she can't stand it when people have arguments on social media when there's a lot of husbands and wives that follow each other. I have seen that too.
Right.
And you want to talk about awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. But here's
like
what
crazy.
Andrea said, which touche, and this is true. She says, I read it. So what does that say about me? And I am 100% guilty of not liking or commenting, but you better believe I'm reading those comments.
Oh, yeah. It's like Rose said, I'm not going to lie. It's interesting to read.
Yeah,
I've not seen one of the. I mean, arguments over politics. Yeah, that's all over Facebook. But personal fights that they just carry online.
See, you
Really?
must just follow super swanky people that read the Forbes.com article on Facebook etiquette.
Yeah,
But
I got a classy bunch of friends.
Even Roger, on some of our stories, I mean, if you think back in the past and some of the comments that we've read, you know, someone will write a comment and someone will say, oh, yeah, well, you're just on a bunch of drugs. And the other one will say,
stink.
oh, yeah,
no,
well,
you
stink.
stink. No, you
Yeah.
stink.
And they start pulling out all this, you know, the criminal activity and, you know, what they do to their kids and all this, you know, and I feel like we need to call up Hatcher and let him know.
Well, and sometimes you don't. I know for me, there's one post I put up and I just thought it was funny. It was a picture of this girl that was passed out at Vegas. You couldn't see her face. She had no defining tattoos. She was just like laying on the casino, whatever. And I said, caption this. I thought it was funny. Most of my readers thought it was funny. One person took that and drug me and the blog through the mud. I was attacked as a poor parent. I was attacked as not being supportive of females. And I tried to respond, and friends tried to respond for me. But in the end, the best advice is don't feed the trolls. Just be quiet.
Yeah,
Anyone that knows me knew what my intention was.
Well, yeah. How about don't be this person?
Yeah. And so
know?
I think that is the best thing to say. You don't need to engage. The world isn't going to look at you badly just because you never responded to them. And that is from Miss Emily Post herself, because there are actually thousands of Facebook etiquette articles online. This is a real deal and something that Susan and I were chatting about. And Roger, I think you would agree, when you are a public figure, you do have a certain responsibility to either be okay with the repercussions of whatever you post or to be aware of what you post.
Yeah.
Right. Our friend Terry said, up to the individual, however, your social media profile is how people perceive you. If they see negative posts only, then they'll think of you as a negative person. Nobody likes negative people unless they're using it to feed off of. And then our friend Phil, I love this Phil. It's like the modern day Ann Landers. You can't help but read it and say to yourself, what is wrong with you? That's not exactly what he said. But I'm
or there
paraphrasing
but for
a
the
little bit
grace,
there.
go on.
Yeah. Well, and it just, I don't know if any of us have used this word yet, but the first word that comes to mind when I see someone airing, and not even I'm having a bad day, please help, or I'm struggling with something, because I think it is important to be real on Facebook. But there's a difference between saying I'm having a bad day, I could use support, or ugh, my kids are making me tear my hair out, and bashing your spouse, bashing a friend. You know, that's what we're talking about. It's just tacky. That's the word that comes to mind for me, tacky.
Yeah.
Right. And I tend to even try to be more private than that. And whether this is Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or whatever the social media is, I guess maybe that's just sort of my makeup. If I'm having a bad day, sometimes I might mention it, but if it's a personal thing, I'm not going to put it out all over the place.
I have to say I do put a mixture, and a lot of that has to do with I don't want people getting the impression that I'm fake or everything's amazing and wonderful all the time, especially as a blogger. It's important to me that I maintain that authenticity and transparency, but that's different than the everyday. So according to Forbes.com, they have an article that had 12 social media etiquette tips. And I took 3 of them that I thought were really important. And actually, I will use these myself if I'm questioning whether or not I should post something. So the first one is, will I offend anyone with this content? If so, who, and does it matter?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I thought that was really good, the does it matter part.
Yeah. Well, some people just don't care.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So then the other one
Hopefully
is,
they're not on my friends list.
yeah, that's true. So the other one, the second one is this post too vague? Will everyone understand what I'm saying? And that's what we were talking about with the obvious attention grabbing at the hospital, ... you know.
I
And
can't
then
take it anymore.
Yeah. What? Oh, sweetie, are you okay? I'm always here for you.
Just
Give me a call.
Although one thing that you and I were
Thoughts and
talking
prayers,
about, there is a exception to that. That's the word I'm looking for. Is that if this is a person that you know that is struggling, you know, perhaps struggling with depression, and you know this, and you perceive that as being a legitimate cry for help.
Yeah, as that other person was saying, is some people, that's the only way they know how to reach out for help.
You know, for me, the response is not to respond on Facebook other than to say, I'm calling you, or I'm sending you a message or something.
You
and then
send
reach
them a
out
text
off of social media, because there could be times where that is their call for help.
Yes, and I do that too. I do admit wholeheartedly to doing passive aggressive quotes. Like, you know,
come on.
Yeah, so there are sometimes quotes up there. Like, for example, recently there was there's 2 sides to every story, and if one side's only talking about what they did right, it's not the whole story. Like, you know, that was passive aggressive. And so the third tip from Forbes. I'm just being honest, guys. I'm just being honest. The third tip from Forbes.com is this something I really want to share, or is it just me venting?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that was a great one.
Very important distinction.
Yes.
Because venting, you would go downstairs and yell at your teddy bear or something.
Yeah, or type it and immediately delete it without posting it.
Right, because it's forever.
Yeah.
Forever on the internet.
One thing I thought was interesting is that there were several very famous social media people that said, if you are going to air your dirty laundry, you better make sure that the spelling's correct, there are no grammatical errors, and there is accuracy, because otherwise they are going to latch onto that.
Yeah, they're going to pick
the
you
grammar
apart.
police are out there.
And tear you apart.
Okay, very good. Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife in Heels. We've done it again, eaten up all the time. So
I love it.
Programming note, next Monday, you will not be
I
here.
will be gone. I'm
That's
going to go
correct.
climb Pikes Peak this
what-
coming weekend, hopefully. So I will not be here on Monday, but I will be back, hopefully, the Monday after.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you.